Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm your host Kyle Wood. Now today we'll be learning all about the incredible Terracotta Army. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Consider this. In 1974, while digging a well during a drought in Lingtong County near Xi'an, China, a group of farmers unearthed fragments of pottery and then a life-size terracotta head. The discovery of the Terracotta Army was a monumental event, but some say that the local farmers who first stumbled upon the ancient warriors were cursed for disturbing the Emperor's silent guardians. What do you think? Could such a curse actually exist? We'll unearth the truth at the end of this episode. Now for our word of the day. Today's word of the day is mausoleum. A mausoleum is a large, stately building, often above ground, that houses a tomb or tombs. The Terracotta Army, for instance, is a part of a vast mausoleum complex built for the Emperor Qin Shi Huang. The word mausoleum comes to us from Latin, which in turn is borrowed from the Greek word mausoleon, spelled Mausoleion. This specifically referred to the magnificent tomb of Mausolus, a ruler of Caria in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. He died around 353 BCE. His wife, Artemisia II, was so grief-stricken and wanted to create such an opulent final resting place for him that the mausoleum at Halicarnassus became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was so grand and famous that ever since, large and impressive tombs have been called mausoleums. Now for today's high five, our top 5 fun facts about the Terracotta Army. Number 1, Emperor Qin Shi Huang's quest for immortality led to a tomb laced with toxic mercury. His belief in liquid mercury as an elixir of life may have ironically hastened his death, but glass half full, it may have helped preserve his tomb as well. Emperor Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with living forever and dispatched missions to find an elixir of life. He himself consumed various concoctions, including those containing mercury, often in the form of cinnabar, which alchemists of the time misguidedly believed would prolong life. Tragically, these mercury-laden elixirs were poisonous, and many historians believe the emperor's death at the age of 49 was ironically caused or accelerated by mercury poisoning from his attempts to achieve immortality. Ancient texts by historian Sima Quan describe the emperor's unexcavated tomb as containing rivers and seas of flowing liquid mercury meant to represent the waterways of China and perhaps symbolize eternal life. Modern scientific surveys have detected significantly high concentrations of mercury in the soil of that tomb mound, lending credence to these historical accounts. These high mercury levels, along with the immense scale of the mausoleum and concerns about preserving its contents, are major reasons why, over 50 years after the discovery of the Terracotta Army, the central tomb of Qin Shi Huang has still not been excavated. Number 2, there are an estimated 8,000 unique soldiers, and no 2 faces are exactly alike. Imagine a factory producing 8,000 statues. You might expect a lot of repetition, but incredibly, each of the estimated 8,000 terracotta warriors have distinct facial features, hairstyles, and expressions. While their bodies and limbs were mass-produced using molds, the heads were individually detailed by skilled artisans. This remarkable individuality suggests a desire to represent a realistic and diverse army. The warriors vary in rank from generals, the tallest figures, to archers, cavalrymen, and infantrymen, each with appropriate attire. This attention to details gives the silent army an eerie and lifelike quality, as if each soldier was a portrait of a real individual from the Qin dynasty. Number 3. The creation of this massive necropolis involved a staggering number of laborers and decades of work. Building an underground army and a tomb complex fit for the first emperor of China was no small feat. It's estimated that over 700,000 laborers were conscripted for this project. Construction began when Qin Shi Huang ascended to the throne of the Qin at age 13 in 246 BCE, and it continued for approximately 38 to 40 years, likely even after his death in 210 BCE. The sheer manpower and years dedicated to this project highlight the immense power and resources wielded by Emperor Qin Shi Huang. It also underscores his obsession with the afterlife and his desire to carry his imperial power and protection with him beyond the mortal realm. The entire mausoleum complex, of which the Terracotta Army is just one part, covers an estimated 22 square miles or 56 square kilometers. Number 4. The warriors were originally armed with real, preserved weapons and painted in vibrant colors. When the terracotta figures were placed in their pits, they weren't just symbolic protectors. They were equipped with actual bronze weapons. Archaeologists have unearthed over 40,000 weapons, including swords, lances, and crossbows, many remarkably preserved and still sharp thanks to the protective chromium plating, an advanced ancient Chinese technology. And that's not all. These soldiers weren't originally the plain terracotta color we see today. Each warrior was meticulously painted with bright lacquers and pigments like red, green, purple, and blue, making their armor and features incredibly lifelike. Imagine a dazzling, multicolored army, not the muted earth tones we see today. Unfortunately, exposure to air upon excavation caused much of the delicate paintwork to flake off or fade rapidly, though conservation efforts now strive to preserve these original vibrant hues whenever traces are found. And our fifth and final fun fact for today, the Terracotta Army is more than just soldiers. It includes chariots, horses, and non-military figures. While the warriors are the most famous component, the underground complex was designed to be a complete replica of the emperor's imperial world for the afterlife. Alongside the thousands of soldiers, archaeologists have found around 130 chariots pulled by over 500 terracotta horses and an additional 150 cavalry horses. Beyond the military might, excavations have revealed pits containing terracotta musicians, acrobats, strongmen, and civil officials, all intended to serve and entertain the emperor in his next life. There have even been discoveries of bronze birds like cranes and ducks in an underground imperial park. Now for some news you can use. If you get the chance to visit the Terracotta Army, or even if you're just looking at the photos, here's a tip to deepen your appreciation. Pay close attention to the subtle details that differentiate the warriors. Try not to get overwhelmed by the scale and repetition. Pick out individual soldiers and study their faces. Notice the variety in the hairstyles, the shapes of their noses and eyes, their unique expressions. Some look stern, others calm, some perhaps even a little weary. Also observe the differences in their armor and clothing, which often indicate rank and role, like an archer versus an infantryman. The original battle formations in the pits are also fascinating, with distinct areas for vanguard units, charioteers, and command posts. By focusing on these individual characteristics and the strategic layout, you'll, yes, gain an understanding and appreciation of the artistry, but also get the sense that these were not simply odd objects buried in the ground 2,000 years ago. They represent real people, and making those personal connections can make it all the more engaging and impactful. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. Earlier, I asked if the farmers who discovered the Terracotta Army were struck by a curse. While it makes for a dramatic story, the idea of a supernatural curse afflicting the farmers is a fallacy. But the truth is, the discovery did bring significant hardship and upheaval to the lives of Yang Zifa and his fellow villagers, which superstitious people might interpret like a curse. The farmers certainly endured hardships, but it wasn't from the revenge of a ghost from the past, rather the actions of the contemporary government officials and others. After their incredible find, the farmers' land was appropriated by the government for excavation and the construction of the museum complex. Reports from various sources, including the South China Morning Post, indicate that they received little initial compensation or recognition. Some of the original group of farmers lived in poverty, and tragically, a few died young and penniless, unable to afford medical care. For years, their role in the discovery was largely unacknowledged, while others profited from the find. But if we're being honest about this history, we have to recognize that those farmers were already enduring hardships before their discovery as well. Remember, it started off because they were impoverished farmers trying to dig their own well during a drought. They were in a bad spot before the discovery, and unfortunately, they remained in a bad spot afterwards. People who believe in a superstition and a curse might point to the hardships that people endured after the fact, but that's kind of an example of what we might say correlation rather than causation. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Terracotta Army with me. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.